I usually only get the mesh kind because it helps with breathing, getting air. Hey Day Gang, it's the girl Shantae, and I'm coming at you with a video because I'm getting a lot of questions and inboxes about the guidelines on the dome cap when you're making the wig. So I'm coming at you with this tutorial just to simplify things and let you guys know that it's not as hard as you think it is. It's actually quite simple. We're going to use this type of cap. It is a mesh dome cap. I got this from my local beauty supply. You can get it at Target. You can get it virtually anywhere. But I basically got this at my local beauty supply for $2.99. The regular size is $2.99. And I also have the extra large size from my big head beauties. And I got this for $3.99. So you can get either size that you need for your head. I usually only get the mesh kind because it helps with getting air to your scalp and, you know, letting your scalp breathe versus having, you know, your head sweat. Sometimes, you know, ladies, you know, sweat a lot or sweat in, you know, certain situations. So, you know, you want to have a breathable cap. Not to say that the other cap isn't breathable, the non-mesh one. I think it is. I just prefer to use the mesh. And sometimes I do use that other cap, so it really, like I said, it doesn't matter. But this brand, this specific brand is the best to me. So you can check your little local beauty supply. I think Sally's has them as well. We are going to use the regular size one, not the extra large one. So I've got my mannequin head here. She's all ready to go. And we've got our wig cap. Next thing we need is our Sharpies. Sharpies. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm using Sharpies. So these Sharpies are either gold metallic or silver metallic. These are important for seeing the guidelines on your mannequin head because you do want to make sure that you are staying on the line or near the line or close to the line when you're sewing on your sewing machine. You do not want to veer off onto another line or veer off too high or veer off too low, because then your wig will not be proportionate and it may not fit right. So that is the reason for the guidelines, but the reason why we use gold or metallic Sharpies is so you can easily see it on the black mesh dome cap. For this tutorial though, I'm going to use the gold. So we're going to just go ahead and open her up here. It comes like this with the little cardboard in the middle, and then we have our mesh dome cap. Now you see, you can see through the cap. It's just more breathable than the solid black one. So it comes like this in the front and this in the back. See how it's wider and separate, and then it's more V-shape in the front. A lot of people like to use the wider one in the front. It's really just personal preference. There is no right or wrong way to wear these caps, in my opinion. Okay, so we have got the cap. Now what we want to do, you see it fits her all the way around, and you can see some of her scalp. I like to line this V up with the middle line on my mannequin head. I like to line that up. And then I go to the back. As you can see, she has her T-pins ready. She always has them ready. She stay ready. She ain't got to get ready. Okay. I can just T-pin her down in the back. What you want to do is you want to pin this down. You want to bring it as far down to the nape of the neck as possible. Okay? You see how I'm stretching her there? And then you want to pin her down. That's all you're going to do. Down to the nape of the neck as possible. Now, as far down to the nape of the neck as possible. Now, If you have your client's measurements, then you can go ahead and adhere to those measurements. If not, then you just want to go ahead and do the best you can with pinning this cap down to the nape of the neck. And we're going to do it on the other side here. Pulled it all the way down. I'll show you again. We're going to do it on the other side here. We're going to tug up this. We're going to pull it all the way down so that it matches with this nape of the neck. You're going to have a straight line here. Okay, you're going to pull it down. You're going to T-pin that right on down, and boom. Now she's ready to go. She has a flat surface here. The cap is fully stretched to where it's going to, how it's going to be or look on the head, and then you are ready to draw your lines. This is necessary to ensure that the unit does fit correctly on your client's head. So I've got some beautiful Burmese curly, raw Burmese curly bundles here. And this is what I'm going to make my client's wig out of. Before I can sew the tracks on the wig, I have to measure the closure on the mannequin head. And so what we're going to do now is we are going to position the closure on the front of the unit. So what I like to do is I like to pin the hair on the closure just out of my way so that I can get the closure on the cap with ease. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the closure a little bit off of the cap, a little bit off of the front of the cap, so that it will fit right on the client. So what we're going to do is, you see a little bit of hair here, and I'm going to T-pin that area down. So I've got a little bit of hair off the cap, and I'm going to T-pin that down. The area that is still on the cap, I'm going to T-pin that down. Okay. So then I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to do the same thing. You want to make sure that your sides measure up so that one side isn't longer than the other or bigger than the other. So you want to make sure, longer than the other or shorter than the other. So you want to make sure that you're lining it up correctly. Make sure that you're lining the closure up correctly. So I'm going to T-pin that other side down. Now we're going to T-pin the back of it. You want your closure to fit as snug to the cap as possible. So you see this area, no humps, lumps, or bumps. So you want to pull it back and you want it to fit as snug to the cap as possible. There you go. You're going to come on the other side and you're going to do the exact same thing. Pull it. You see, no lumps, bumps, or humps. And then also the same thing in the back. You just want to make sure that it's no lumps, bumps, or humps all the way around the closure area. Is you're going to take your gold or silver Sharpie and you're just going to outline it. Just going to outline the outside of the closure onto the cap. And so I'm short, so I've got to, you're just going to outline the outside. You don't want to go inside. You don't want to go too far outside. You just want to go right at the cusp, right at the edge of the closure. There you go. Outlined and everything. So you want to leave it there. So you don't really have to leave it there, but I like to leave it there. but you want to, so I leave it there, and then I go right around to the back and I start drawing my lines. There is no science to how many lines I draw. There is no, you know, guideline that I use. I just draw the lines. If I'm using 3 bundles, then I space the lines out accordingly. If I use 4 bundles, then I do that. If I use 5, 6, 7, I've even used 9 bundles in a wig for one of my clients. So I mean, it can be done. Just take your time. Just think about if you've ever gotten a sew-in. Think about, or if you've ever handmade a wig, hand sewn a wig. It's the same thing. You can kind of guesstimate how many bundles or how many lines you're going to be using on the cap. You know, if you're used to doing hair or making wigs. So you're just going to draw a line. Now, what I like to do at the nape is I like to leave like a finger width space like this, because I put combs in the back of my caps. I sew them on the inside of the back of the cap. So I like to have a finger width space where I'm going to put that comb right at the nape. I like for the combs to be right at the nape so that they, you know, they're just right there, just like that. So I like to use a finger width space. So you can put your finger there, and then you can start at the corner of the cap and just draw your line right on across. Easy peasy. See? And you want to make sure that the line is on the top of the T-pin. So my line is on top of my T-pin, and that's all that I'm going to do. And then I can start on my next line. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your lines do not have to be perfect. Nobody's going to see the lines because they're going to be covered with tracks of the hair. So don't worry about that. And then you just keep going across the cap. Just keep going, and my lines are definitely not perfect, so that is just how I do it. Your lines can be perfect if that's what you want, but my lines are not perfect. I do not have a certain measurement that I use. I do not have a certain guideline that I go by. It's just I know to draw more lines if I'm using more bundles, and less lines if I'm using less bundles. The only key to this is to make your lines consistent. So you want to have the same amount of spacing in the middle. You don't want too big of a spacing or too little of a spacing for some, and then too big of a spacing for others, because then your wig is going to start to look weird. And again, your lines do not have to be perfectly straight. That is not something that needs to be perfected. Some people do have perfect lines. They can make perfect lines, draw perfect lines, but that's not me. Nobody's perfect. So right here at the top, right there at the top, you see that? We're just gonna draw a little bitty line. I go from this bracket all the way over to this bracket, and boom, we're done with our guidelines. That's it. Nothing else needs to be done with the guidelines. You are officially done. So you've got your top here with the lines. You've got your side with the lines, and you've got your other side with the lines. Now, the key to making your guidelines is you do not want to draw a line too close to or on top of your closure line. Leave that line alone. Once you draw your closure line, that's it. That's for the closure. Do not put anything else there, because that's for the closure. Some people like to sew the closure on first and then sew the tracks on. I'm not that person. I like to sew on my tracks first and then sew on the closure. So my closure is last to get sewn on the wig. And some people like to put an extra track on top of the closure to hide this lace that goes on the inside of the closure. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It just really depends. But you don't have to do it. That's just an extra step if you want to hide that lace. But other than that, on this line for where the closure is supposed to be set for, do not put anything else on that line. That is specifically for the closure. You do not want to put anything else on that line. You do not want to sew over that line, because if you do, your wig will not fit and the closure will not have any room for its space. So that's what you do. If you have any other questions, you guys can leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you guys like this video, if you guys need more videos like this or want any more videos like this, any tutorials, let me know and I will try to get those out for you guys, okay? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Shante. See y'all.